So welcome everyone to our recorded version of Collaboration in the Pandemic for our third session. I do want to take just a moment to introduce everybody just in case this is your first time with us. So Rosalind, if you'll advance to the next slide there. So I'm Angie White, the Director of Instructional Technology for Oldham County Schools, and we have Rosalind Manning, one of our digital learning coaches, and Lauren Rata, our other digital learning coach. So they'll be sharing some really neat tools with you today. But you might say, why are we here? Why are we doing this collaboration in a pandemic thing anyway? And over 2 decades ago, researchers Anderson and Garrison demonstrated that success in an online course depended on the relationship first between the student and the content, second, the student and the instructor, and third, the student and classmates. So furthermore, when students aren't collaborating with classmates, they miss out on new perspectives, new ideas, new approaches to solve problems, and they miss out on the opportunity to develop those critical soft skills such as communication, problem solving, and creative thinking. So that just solidifies our reasoning behind doing this series. And now I'm going to turn it over to Rosalind and Lauren to share our session 3 tools today. And I think you're still muted, Rosalind.
Oh, there we go. I'll turn that camera off too. Okay. So first, I'm just going to go over the layout for the slides for today and really for every session that we've done so far. So you'll notice here we've got session 1 with 3 tools next to it, session 2 with 3 tools next to it, and session 3 with 3 tools, as well as session 4. And so the first 2 tools in each of these sessions are more like deep dive tools where Lauren and I will be going in depth with the tools. And then the ones in this far right column here are like what we're calling our digital dessert. And so these tools are going to be things that we probably won't have time to go over in depth, but we've linked resources and videos and those types of things into those particular slides. And the way that this slide works, when you click, for example, I'm going to go ahead and click on Google Keep because that's the first session that we're going to do. So when I click in present mode on Google Keep, it will take me directly to those Google Keep resources. And you will notice that for each of those sessions. In this particular slide deck, the only tools that you're not going to have access to just yet is anything that's in session 4. So in this slide deck, you'll have access to sessions 1, 2, and 3, and all of the slides available there. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just get started with Google Keep. This is one of my favorite tools that I have used just as a teacher, and even like on my personal account, I use this to kind of help keep me organized. And it's one of those tools that really people don't think about too much when they're digging into Google more, but it really is a hidden gem of Google Workspace. And it's basically just a way to create digital sticky notes. And so if you are one of those teachers that you've got sticky notes all over your desk, and then you get home and you're like, man, I forgot that sticky note and I really needed that because now I don't have this student's name or this student's grade or whatever it may be, Google Keep is perfect because you can access it from anywhere. This is a great place to just create a simple list. You can bookmark resources and links to other websites and that sort of thing. And you can also collaborate and share ideas with colleagues. Students can also use it for collaboration within group projects and assignments as well. So that share feature that you see on other Google Workspace applications like Docs and Slides and that type of thing, that is also available for Google Keep as well. And so on this slide here, I've linked for you Google Keep EDU in 90, and this is just a quick 90-second video going over some of the things that you can do in Google Keep. But for today, I'm just going to go over some of my favorite ways to use it and also ways to use it for collaboration. So first, to access Google Keep, all you need to do, well, you can do two things. I'm going to open up a new tab here, and you can go to keep.google.com, and it will pull up your Google Keep like this. Or over here in your waffle, you can click on that and scroll down to Keep. And this is the icon that you see for Keep. It's got like a little light bulb in it. And you can click there and it takes you to your Google Keep homepage. And so just a few things to go over with you, some of my favorite things to go over with you in Google Keep. Just simply first, how to take a note. You'll notice this is right here as soon as you open up Google Keep. So when you click on that, you can give your note a title. So I might just give this the title to-do list. And then right here in take a note, you can type whatever it is that you might want to do. I might need to grade essays. I might need to make copies, that type of thing. This does not necessarily look like a to-do list. If you're that person that even on my handwritten sticky notes, I put little check boxes so I can, like, I get the pleasure of actually checking something off or scratching something off. If you like that, you can go to the Skinny Snowman here for more and do check or show check boxes. And so when you are ready to actually check something off of your to-do list, I'm going to hit close. You'll notice that actually doesn't show up here under my pinned ones, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. But when you're ready to actually check something off, you can click grade essays and it strikes it through and gives it a check mark and puts it on the bottom of your list. And so I really love that show checkbox feature as well. In order for your notes to show up here at the top of your screen, it says pinned here. And so all you have to do is kind of hover and you can click that little pin and it will send it up here to the top of your list. And those are the ones that I like to keep up at the top that I know I use either every day or maybe I need a constant reminder to do something. I can pin it to the top and that way it's there as soon as I open it. And Google Keep is one of those things that I open almost every single morning as soon as I get into my office. Like I'm on Google Keep all day, but it's usually the first thing I pull up other than my email. So if you've got things pinned up here to the top, those might be things you want to look at first. When you're taking notes, there are tons of other things you can do in order to take notes. And so you can actually add images to your notes. So you'll see this one here. We've got an image added right here at the top of this Google Keep note. And so that's just one way that Google Keep notes can kind of stand out for you. So you can add images. You can also do notes with drawings, and this is really cool. This could be really great, especially if you've got you can pull Google Keep up on your phone and write notes that way or whatever, but this does also work on a Chromebook or a laptop. So I'm going to click New Note with Drawing, and it opens up this basically, it looks very similar to like a Google Drawing, kind of actually looks sort of like Google Jamboard. But you've got some annotation tools up here. You've got some colors that show up here, but if you use this little down arrow, you've got a ton of other colors as well. And then down here, you can change the thickness of your pen. And so I'm just going to choose purple, and then I'll grab this one here. And so you can actually write, or students can write. And then if they've got touchscreen Chromebooks or whatever it may be, they can also use their finger on, the screen of their Chromebook or whatever device that it is that they're using. So you've got your annotation tools here. You've got your eraser tool. And then right here is you can change the background. And so I could see this being really useful for all sorts of content areas. And so you can have lined paper where kids can, write on lined paper. You can have them use graph paper to make math notes, that type of thing. And so when you're ready, I'm going to click that back button. And you can see that this image shows up here. I'm going to type in sample drawing note. I think I have another one titled the same way. So I'm going to put note 2. And then you can type down here, math notes from 2/11/21. And I can go ahead and pin that to the top so it shows up at the top if I want to, and close it out. And you can see it shows up here. And so it just looks like a little image here. And then I've got my details of my notes right there. And I can, let's see, I can change the background. Like this one is orange, this one is blue, this one down here is like a brown color. If I click on this color palette down here, it says change color. And so I can actually change, I think I'll do this one green since I don't have another green one up here. This could be a really good way to organize your Google Keep. So you might choose to have all of your technology notes in green and all of your Algebra 1 notes in blue. And then any notes from your PLC might be another color. So if you really like that color coordination, you can choose a color to designate to, whatever topic it is you want to use. Another way that you could organize your Google Keep, not just by colors, but also by creating labels. So I'm going to click up here at this top left menu here. I'll call it the hamburger. So if you click on that hamburger, you can see that these look like little tags, like little labels. And so I've got several different labels here. And you can, when you are in your note, oops, I'm going to go actually here to the skinny snowman and do add label. And so I'm just going to put sample label and hit create sample label. And so I have marked it here as sample, but what I love about the labels is that I can actually add it to multiple labels. And so I can put it under sample, and then I'll put it under just annotated bib rubric. And you'll see here, it shows up under both of them, and I've got an X. I can just remove it that way. I don't have to go through a bunch of steps. But what's really cool is when I come over here to annotated bib rubric, I see this one. Notice I pinned it on that first page, and it's still pinned up here under this label. And then there's sample label. I can click on that, and it shows up under this one as well. So I sometimes find myself like, well, I don't know if this is this English or is this technology or what is this? And so the fact that you can have multiple labels for one note to me makes organizing so much easier. So I really like that feature as well. In order to add collaborators to this, you will notice I'm going to hover over this Google Keep note and click on this little person with a plus sign and type in, I'm going to type in Lauren's email here. Click on that, and then I'm going to click that check mark to add her, and you can see her picture shows up here. I'm also going to add Dr. White to this as well. Click on her email address, add the check mark, and her picture shows up here. And then I'll hit save. And so now anytime Lauren or Dr. White add anything to this note, I'll be able to see it. And so actually the three of us use Keep notes like this quite frequently to keep up with ideas, or so that, if we think of something randomly after work one day, we can throw it on our Google Keep. And then that way, when we have our meetings or when it's time to talk about whatever that topic is, it's already on our note. And so we just remember based on that note to make sure that we include that in our conversation or include that in our work. So adding collaborators there is a really powerful way to have students work together on a project. So I'm going to come back to my slides here for just a second and show you this collaboration tool slide deck, just to give you some ideas for things that you can do with Google Keep in terms of collaborating with colleagues, but also having students collaborate with each other as well. Google Keep is integrated with Google Docs, and so there are two different ways that I think this could be really, really powerful. Um, and I'm actually going to open up just a random new doc here. And then create a new document. So I'm here on a blank Google Doc. And I can, if you'll notice, on this right-hand side of my screen, I've got this task bar. And it's got Google Calendar, Google Keep, Google Tasks. If you don't see this, it might be that your screen looks what would appear to be completely normal Google Doc. If you look at the bottom, you should see a little arrow. And if you click that arrow, that side panel should show up. So if you don't see this, just look at the bottom right-hand side of your screen and click on the little arrow, and it should pop up there. But I'm going to click on Keep. And I can actually take, for example, I'm going to look at this to-do list, and I'm going to click on the three dots and go to Add to Document. And it transfers my entire to-do list. Now, of course, this one's really small, but it transfers my to-do list into the document. So I could see this being really great for students who might be, whether it's in person or virtual, they may be partnered with a group and they're using Google Keep to create their to-do list for their project. And occasionally these lists get really long. And so they may want to take that and transfer that into a Google Doc so that they're working in one big document. So I could see that being really useful for them there. This could also be great for you as a teacher to be able to give feedback to students. Now, I know that Google Classroom has the comment bank feature, so this may not be your favorite, most easy way to put comments into students' documents. But if you've got, and I'll find one on here, my annotated bibliography rubric, I can grade a student's annotated bibliography, and then either at the top of the page or at the bottom, I can take this and say, add to document. And I give them, and of course it formatted it, so because of the previous one being like struck through, let's see. There we go. But I can add that to the document. And so the student has the rubric criteria and their grade right there within the document. So that could be one way that you might choose as a teacher to use that as well. So this is one way that Google Docs and Google Keep are integrated. But another really great way to use this, I can straight from Keep, oops, there we go to the three dots here on any note that I've got and go to Copy to Google Docs. And it's going to copy the entire Keep. It says Open Docs, so I'm going to open that up. It automatically transfers this Google Keep note into a Google Doc. It even titles it for me, the same title that I had here on my Google Keep. And so this could be, again, a great way if students are outlining presentations or taking notes for all the things that they need to do for a task. They can go ahead and very quickly, very easily transfer that into a Google Doc. This also works with Google Slides. And so I'll show you quickly. I'm going to delete this slide later, but this is just for demonstration purposes. Here in our collaboration in a pandemic slides, I'm just going to add a blank slide. Let me see if I can. I'll try the title slide and see if it works there. It may not work super well, but we'll try it. So I'm going to click. You'll see the same taskbar here in Google Slides. If it's not there, again, just click that arrow at the bottom right corner. And then click on Google Keep, and it should open up the same way it does in Google Docs. And you can take it and drag it into the slide, and it puts everything into that slide for you. Again, this does work better with a blank slide. Like this one is just, it's got title and subtitle, but you can have students transfer their work into their slides that way as well. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that so that doesn't throw anybody off. Okay, so just some resources I have for you here. There are, oh, and you know what? I think there's one here. Okay, I wanted to show you this as well. So on this slide, there are some image templates on this website here. And what these image templates will do is just allow you it's one way, I guess, to organize your Google Keep. And so I will show you, I think I showed you this earlier, but this one has an image on it. So this person has given images, but also Google Drawing templates that you can use to attach to your Google Keep. And so I'm just going to use this editable Google Drawings just to show you kind of the steps you would use for this. So I'm going to click on to-do list, and it's going to force me to make a copy of this Google Drawing. So I'm going to click make a copy. And I can, if I wanted to, I can edit this text. I can kind of do whatever. But when I am ready to put this on my Google Keep, maybe I've made some changes to it, I'm going to go to File, Download, and I'm going to download an image, okay? So I'm going to download that there. It'll show up right down here. And when I go to Google Keep, I made this to-do list here. So I'm going to click this little image button, copy of to-do list, and hit open. And so now I can see right away, it just stands out a little bit more that this is my to-do list. If you don't want to go through the trouble with these of the Google Drawings template, you can just on this website, click on the to-do list, and it'll pull up the image and you can just download it here. So it's whatever you prefer. If you feel like it looks fine and you don't want to edit it, you don't have to. So I just really like that resource, just because if you are a super visual and you like to have some of the pretty templates and that sort of thing, those are there for you. So I wanted to show you that really quickly. And then over here, I've just got several resources for you. Casey Bell, several of these are from Casey Bell, but 15 ways for students to use Google Keep. And if you click on it, it's a PDF just with some ideas for you. Some of them I've been over, others of them I haven't necessarily, but just gives some, like a quick little infographic of ways to use Google Keep. And then a Google Keep cheat sheet is also a PDF, but just all the different tips and tricks of things you can do in Google Keep. And these other ones are just some ways that you and your students can use Google Keep, especially ways that they and you can collaborate with each other as you are doing tasks, whether, again, virtually or in person. It could be used either way. Okay, I'm going to stop presenting, and Lauren, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Rosalind. Hi guys, again, I'm Lauren Rata. I'm going to continue our session with Adobe Spark. So let me go ahead and present my screen as well so that we can get started. And also turn off. There we go. So now we're going to be looking at our second tool. So that's still that deeper dive of Adobe Spark. Many of you might be familiar with Adobe Spark. Adobe Spark, or Adobe in general, is that Adobe suite that's been around for probably years now, but they have something called the Adobe Spark Suite for education. And this consists of what we'll talk about 3 different components: pages, post, and video. And it really just allows students and teachers to easily create and share different visual stories that can be used in all content areas. As you can see, pages is more like creating a website. Post is a graphic or infographic, and video just simply means students are creating and generating videos. Every staff member and student do have an account through our Oldham domain. So it's really easy for us to use that single sign-on with Google and log in. It also saves your work automatically and allows you to pull in images from your drive, as well as then saving it automatically and sharing. So it is, though, important, and I'll model this here in just a moment, that you do select that login with a school account and use our single sign-on to create, save, and publish your work. What's really neat is you can access all of this from the web version. So it's very device agnostic. You can use it on a laptop, on a desktop, on a Mac if a student has a Mac. And so as long as you have that browser, you're able to use it, as well as you can download each of these as an individual app on iPads. And so if you are a classroom or a school that's equipped with iPads, you can still use each of these Adobe Spark Suite applications. Here on this slide is the link to the web version, which is just simply that adobe.spark.com, as well as if you do need the links for those individual downloads for iOS, they are there as well. I have found that I can get pages and posts on my personal phone as well. So if students are bringing that BYOD, they can work on it from there, but I was not able to get the video. So that's a little caveat there. And then also here is a video. If you want to use, I'm going to show you in a second how to sign in, but if you want to use this video with your students later to remind them how important it is to log in with our school account, you can also visit that link and share that with them as well. So let's go ahead, and I'd like to model this for you from the beginning on how to get on Adobe Spark and how to sign in. And so I'm simply here. I'm just going to show you from the web version, because this is the way it'll look for most students, whether they're on the Chromebook, on a different type of laptop, MacBook, on some teacher desktop. It'll work this way. They go to spark.adobe.com, and then they're looking on this right-hand side that prompts them that says teacher or student, and they're going to click this login with school account. And when you click that, you can continue with Google, and depending on the device, and then also remind them one more time, I am a company or school account. And then depending on the device and how you're logged in, as you can see, it just automatically pulled me in. I am logged into my Chrome browser with my Oldham County account. So it automatically logged me in, as you can see here, through my profile here in the dashboard, that I am logged in lauren.roth.oldham.kyschools.us. If a student has a Chromebook, it will probably prompt them to click on their name. And if not, if it's their first time and they're not logged into the Chrome browser, just prompt them to use their first name, last name at stu.oldham.kyschools.us so that they can get in. And then once they're here, both the teacher and the student dashboard look the same. And so they will go ahead and, they customize it, put your name in there and say, okay, let's go ahead and start your story. And then the three that we're going to talk about today is that collage, which is called post, web page, which is called pages. And then the slideshow is the video component of it. So those are the three we're going to showcase right now today. So let's go ahead and let's get started looking at the tools and how students can collaborate using the post or the collage. And so when students are ready, they can click on here. And I do like to, sometimes it likes to prompt you to upload your photos ahead of time, but I like to use my photos as I'm actually creating on the spot. And so I'm going to tell it to skip. You can do that. And then always it will ask you about do you want to use a template or what orientation do you want to use? And so I always tell students to either pick the standard or the custom ones, because we're not really using social media right now. And so under the standard, then think about also your audience. How are they going to share this? Is it something that out in the community that people are going to view on a phone, or something that looks better, square, landscape, and so on? And so I'm just going to pick this square one. So maybe I'm going to make a poster. Actually, no, I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to make a poster. So I'm going to click this portrait one and say next. And then it's going to let me go ahead and get started. The power here is for collaboration. Up here in the top, you have that person and the plus button. And so thinking about no matter what type of project, activity, experience you are giving your students can collaborate on this together. One student will create it initially, but then once they have the actual template or project started, they can come in this icon and click on it, and they can go ahead and type in. So I'll go ahead and type in Rosalind. Type in and then invite them to edit it. And so now Rosalind, if she wanted to, could also pop on here. As you can see now, it shows multiple people collaborating, and we can collaborate in real time, synchronously, or we can use this asynchronously and be working on something at different times. And so it does prompt you from the beginning. You have toolbars here on this left-hand side as well as the right-hand side. It will prompt you to, if you want to use a template. And so that makes sense for that particular activity or project for your students, if they'd rather choose something kind of already mapped out or with color themes already, and then they can still though go back and edit the text. They can still edit the theme colors. They can still put their own photos in, whatever is best for them. So those templates are there for them. Next, we have text where they can build from scratch and add in their own text box, as well as you can see, they have templates as well for text to make it more engaging for your viewer, so they can see which one of those are best for them. They can add in their own photos. When I work with students, I tell them there's 3 places that really from here that are most applicable. They can upload a photo. It will pull from their actual computer that they're on that you've saved. The next one is the free photos. So these are those Creative Commons, you're allowed to use them, and it's kind of like a little search here within Adobe Spark. You can search within, as well as the third that I usually tell my students that is applicable is connecting to their Google Drive. And so when you click on this to initiate it the first time, it's going to allow you to choose your account, and then you have to allow and give it permission. But then after that, when students go back to their project and they go to that, adding the photo or the image here, now my Google Drive is connected, and it will let them pull anything they have from their drive, as you can see. So those are the 3 ways they could add photos. The other implications that you have here are like icons. And so if they want to choose some of those fun icons, they can change the color later. They can do that as well. Design assets, as you can see, more images, backgrounds, and then you can add your own logo if you want. So many ways that they can add to their post or their poster here, infographic. Over here on this right-hand side now, I'm going to move over here to the colors. As you can see, they have different color themes that students can choose from. They have animation you can add from in here, backgrounds, and not only the background color, but also if you didn't want to choose a theme template, I like to come over here and I like to just choose more of the different types of grid backgrounds. And so if maybe I'm making a poster and I want multiple squares, I can look for one. And as you can see, it will go ahead and section that off for you. And then also within the color theme, like I said, you can change that as well. That was just the top one. So that is within the background. So it doesn't just have to be the coloring. It can also be how many grids you have to divide up your space as well. So students can still start from scratch in that way. As you can see, as you move down, it gives you more and more options or additional boxes there within your template. And then, of course, you have other things like you can go back and you can resize if you chose one orientation and you want to change it, as well as you can go ahead and have some of the designs they already have in quotes that you could edit as well. So students can check those out. Also, like I mentioned, what I really like about this is it's very similar to a lot of Google applications, whereas up here, instead of my post, you can just title it. It's saving automatically. And so I can title this just test post if I want. So very easy to use for students and great for collaboration. And at the end of this section or our segment on Adobe Spark, I'll talk to you, or Adobe Spark post, I will talk to you about specific ways that students could use this within the classroom to collaborate. But I just want to show you the tools available first in each one of these so that you can see the power behind it. And like I said, still have that collaboration button when they're ready to share. Yes, they could download it and save it and then re-upload it to a learning management system like Seesaw or Google Classroom, but that share button is also here too. You can send it right to your Google Drive if you want to have it for safekeeping. You can publish it and get a link if you want. And so there's just so many ways to be able to reach that wider audience after students are done collaborating. And like I said, it's very simple. You can go click your copy to look here. You can even go directly to Classroom to share it as well. So that is kind of the basics of Adobe Spark Post. So think about that as like an infographic or a poster. The next tool I want to show you within that Adobe Spark suite, let's go back to our home. So to go back to the home, you just come to this top left corner, is I want to talk to you about Page, which is creating a web page. So for students to get started, all they have to do is click. Something I do want to mention here is, yes, this is a great tool to use to promote those 4 C's and for students, like I said, to communicate, to collaborate, creativity with critical thinking. But this is meant for using Pages as just internally. And so keep in mind that, yes, students are allowed to use this to create a web page, but that is just for that classroom use to work with students or to share with the teacher. This should not be used as an outward-facing site because of ADA compliance. So make sure you talk to your LMS or STC if this is something you're interested in and you want to use. We have other options if you're going to use that to communicate with the community or with parents outside and externally. So Adobe Spark Pages. As you can see, it's really easy to use and it walks you through it right here on your screen. So to simply add a title, literally all you do is click and you add a title. So I can say test page, and then it prompts you to go ahead and add that subtitle. Really easy to use. And then as you add, you just scroll down and click that plus button to be able to add content. So that first one is just that background header of your web page. And so it's just prompting me for a photo. Same options. And so also I find that once I introduced one of these to students, whether it is Pages, Post, or video, they have a lot of things in common about the way they function and work. And so students are able to then understand and know how to use the next application. Same thing here. I recommend that either students upload a photo if they want and find a photo on their computer, or they go to the finding the free photos through the Creative Commons. And so maybe I'll just do nature and see what comes up for a nice little background, as you can see. Or last but not least, pulling from that Google Drive. So those are the 3 ways I recommend you add images. Like I said, look how wonderful that looks, and it just took me a few seconds to create. But the power behind it is now as you continue, you can add additional content. And now that you're down within that web page, you can add photos, you can add your own custom text, you can add a button, which makes it just look for a link look a little bit better as a button instead of just that URL out there for people to click. You can embed videos right within here, as well as photo grids and slideshows. So very easy to use. Also, you could split the layout if you want multiple content, as you can see, like an image on one side, but then also text on the other, all within that plus button. And as students continue to create, they literally keep scrolling down and keep pushing the plus and add as much or as little content as they want to collaborate with each other in the classroom. Speaking of collaboration, you probably see that button again. So all the student would have to do after the first one created it is I will add Dr. White now. And so you can add as many students to collaborate and invite them to edit, and they can jump on that web page with you and continue to work. There are some additional options here, like themes, if students want to dig into those. And so thinking about their audience and their purpose as a writer, they can change the way it looks as well with that theme. We'll apply it. So just kind of depends on what they're looking for. And as you can see, you can get a little preview as you click. Very easy to do. So those are the themes as well. When they're finished, they can preview it to see how it looks, as well as we still have that awesome share button with multiple options. And so students can save that web page, and it's saving automatically though here within Adobe Spark, but they can send this actual web page to their Google Drive. They can also still use that publish and share link and say create link and get that URL as well to post back on a learning management system if they want to as well. So very easy to do. Keeping in mind though, this should always stay internally if you're going to use that Adobe Spark Pages for ADA compliance. So just between students or just sharing back with the teacher to demonstrate their learning. So that is Adobe Spark Page. Let's look at our third application, which is the video. So to get back, I can always come back to this top left corner and click back to the home. And then let's look at this slideshow, which is called video. And as always, they sometimes want to give you some tutorials. You can skip. You can pick a template, but I always recommend students start from scratch so they can really customize this video to make it their own. So I'm going to click Start from Scratch, and I'd like to walk you through a few of the basic tools on how you could get your students started collaborating. Okay, I'm ready to get started. What I really do enjoy about Adobe Spark Video is not only is it connected with Google, same features with adding images, saving automatically, adding collaborators, but it kind of reminds me, it looks a little bit like slides. And so students, I think, are easily able to kind of create their video in those separate slides, and then it does mesh them all together. And it makes a beautiful multimedia presentation for them within minutes. And so let's look at how we get started. You have your basic slides down here. So they have a title slide automatically for you and a credit slide. but you can always add as many slides to your multimedia presentation as you want down here by pushing this plus button. To get started, let's look at that title slide. You can always, I recommend kind of starting this way, looking at your layout of each slide. So if this is the title slide, I might want to come down here and have title and text. And that'll, as you see now, I have 2 plus buttons so that I can add in the title and then also credit for the author of it. You have next, you have themes. So students can also think about their audience and purpose and decide what's best fit for this particular video. Then we have the resizing if we want to make our video widescreen or square, as well as we can talk about music here in a little bit as well. Some of that background music, which just makes it a little bit more interactive. And so here, all you have to do is same thing, push that plus button, and I can call this test video if I want. There's not a lot of options, which for some people I think is great because it makes it simple and easy to use. You can just make the text larger or smaller. As you can see, I've already chosen the theme, so it already has the font for me and it has the coloring for me that I cannot change. And then also I can add, I can also add my name as well. What I also like about Adobe Spark is students can use their voice to record on top of it as well. So you don't have to just add music. You probably noticed this microphone button down here. So I can actually voice over right here within Adobe Spark Video. So to actually voice over, the first time you might have to allow permission on your microphone. But once you have that done, all you have to do is hold down as you speak on this microphone button and then let go when you're done. So perfect, I'm glad it did it for me. So I have to allow. Now let me hold this down. Test Video by Lauren Rotom. And when I let go, now that it has saved that, so that, as you can see, it's now 3 seconds long because that's how long my voice was. And I can move to my next slide. On the next slide, you can embed a video that you already have if you want. You can add text or add photo or an icon. Also here, you can change the way it looks. So the actual orientation or the content. And so I could add text if I want. We'll put some American Revolution maybe. Like I said, we could be collaborating in real time on this. I can add a photo on this side, same options as the other two. You can upload, but as well as take a photo now. You could take a photo right here from your camera. You can find free photos as well and also pull stuff from your Google Drive. So let's look here under the free photos really quickly and see if we've got any American Revolution photos. There we go. And as you can see, it plops them right in there for me. I can always go back and edit as well. And then I could voice over. The American Revolution started in, some of the causes were, and so as you can see, you don't have to just always add text. You could have a little bit of text and then have students voice over it as well for them to demonstrate their learning. And then we've got the credits there at the end. And so kind of the power behind it, you could add music, if like I mentioned, if you want to, you can preview these to see what's going to be best fit. And what I really like about it is it turns the music down when your voice appears. And so you can still hear both. So I can check that off if I want music in the background of my video. And when students are ready, they can preview it. Test Video by Lauren Rotom. The American Revolution started in, some of the causes were. So you kind of get the gist. Same thing, when they're ready to share, they can come here to that share button and they still have those same great options that we've talked about in the past to be able to save to their Google Drive. They can get that link to post back to a learning management system, whatever is best fit for them. So that is Adobe Spark Video. So let's come on back here. So now that we've kind of looked at those three, and I've modeled how to do each one of those, you're probably thinking, that's wonderful. I'd love to use these in my classroom, but how can students use this, whether they are working synchronously or asynchronously? And I know I said you could use it at the same time, but this is probably something, whether you're virtual or in person, that students are working alongside each other, but maybe not at the exact same time. And so let's look at a few of these. This is my favorite one, the 5 Incredible Ways to Infuse Your Classroom with Adobe Spark. And this is from Holly Clark. So just some ideas of how you could use it. This is one of my favorites. Having students remix like a normal writing assignment. So this specific example, So yes, going through that writing process is important, but to publish it, how neat would it be if a student then took their maybe their opinion piece or their personal narrative and made it instead, or a persuasion essay into an Adobe page, then to bring those writing elements to life. And so here's a wonderful example of how a student took her writing piece and then a letter to her mom to persuade her to stop texting while driving. And as you can see, as you pull down, she's got her dear mom, and she's added those elements in. And so just really pulling and engaging your students in a different way. Another idea, let's close that out, that she has for us here. This short story, by making it instead into an Adobe post or a page, you could do. So they've got other examples here. So this is the video that they took and made. 6-word summary, so making a poster as well. Taking those old reports and making them into a video. Some great examples here. And another video. Also, we've got some back to school and community building ideas. And I know that this year is a unique year, and these would be some great ideas to kind of continue that momentum of building your classroom community, having students, goal set in this way. They could share about themselves, collaborate, get to know one another still, to still continue building that virtual and in-person community. As well as, we've got another link here, 15 ways to create those unforgettable multimedia with Adobe Spark as well. So Matt Miller has some great ideas here on how also you can use Pages, post, and video to communicate and collaborate with students in the classroom. So check those out. And as well as, I love they have not only how you can do it, but specific student examples, as you can see, on how that can be applicable. Creating posters, comic strips, great information there. So that is Adobe Spark. Like I said, it's not just, it is one hub, but it offers a variety of those pages, the web pages, the posts to make those infographics and those video multimedia presentations as well. So let me go ahead and come back and turn that over to Rosalind for our final tool to take with you today.
All right, thanks, Lauren. I'm going to go ahead and present my screen here. And I'm going to just quickly go over our digital dessert for today. And then I'm going to go over with you just some final things for you to get your PD credit. So first, our digital dessert here is Google Jamboard. And this is one that we've done some trainings on before and given resources to you and to other people in the district before. Jamboard is a digital whiteboard that's, again, included in that Google Workspace. It also is integrated with Google Meet. So if you are a VLA teacher, or if we are eventually in NTI again, this could be something really great for virtual learning, but it's also something you can use in-person learning for collaboration as well. So I've got this Jamboard instructional video here. And then I've given you breakdowns of the time. So if you need to know how to access and create a Jamboard, the breakdowns of each of these things are here. So you know kind of where to skip. If you already know how to access it, but you want to learn more about assigning it to Google Classroom, then you can just skip ahead here. And then on the next slide, I've got for you just ideas for using Jamboard collaboratively. Video for how to use Jamboard in Google Meet, and then some other templates and ideas for you as well, but some ways that you might be able to use this would be a virtual gallery walk where students can use the sticky notes to give feedback to their peers. You can use it as a back channel or a help desk during instruction or peer editing. So you have so many options for ways to use Jamboard both synchronously and asynchronously as a collaboration tool. So I highly recommend you take some time to check out these resources. We have for you a final just Google form reflection for once you have finished this video. This bit.ly link is case sensitive. So when you're typing this in, you want to make sure you use the capital C and the capital P. and everything else is lowercase. So it's case sensitive. If you don't do it exactly this way, you won't get to this Google form. And so I'm going to click on this just to show you what it looks like. You're going to type in we're collecting email addresses. It says your first name and last name are optional. We are collecting email addresses, where you teach, which tool shared in this session will you find most beneficial in your instruction, and then how will you use that tool that you've identified in your instruction. And then the rest of this is just feedback for us so that we can continue to make changes to our professional developments that we deliver. So how effective was this collaboration in a pandemic session? How was the pacing, and how can we improve future events? So we're always looking for your feedback. We will leave this open. Today is February 11th, Thursday, February 11th. And so we're going to leave this open until Thursday, February 18th. So if you want that PD credit, you'll have to get in your responses on this form by February 18th. So make sure that you are doing that. And then these resources will also be made available to you. You'll have the slide deck as well. So don't feel like if you didn't catch something that you won't have these resources. We will certainly provide you with these as well. All right. Well, we have enjoyed having this session with you. I know it's a little bit funky because it's a snow day and it's recorded, and so it's not live, and you haven't had a chance to ask any questions through the chat or anything like that. So I know that Lauren and I and Dr. White are all very willing and would be excited to help you troubleshoot or do anything like that through email, anything like that. If you have any questions on this session, I know we would love to be able to help you with that.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.